This video is about the agreements that we use in the Austin and in other communities. The reason we make agreements is because in the default world, it's not always safe to be authentic, right? There could be repercussions. You could lose a job, a relationship, something you care about. And so if we want a different culture, we have to know how to play together in it. And the agreements are a simple way of setting those rules and structures so we know how to play together. They vary in different communities, but these are the ones that we use. There's 5 of them. First agreement, respect yourself. This is arguably the most important one because it precedes all the others. At the most basic level, if you're a yes to something, say yes. If you're a no, say no. If I know that when I ask you something, if you don't want to do it, you're going to say no, I don't have to filter myself as much. I could ask you, hey, would you tell me about a childhood trauma you had? And I know that if you don't feel comfortable talking about that, you'll say, no, I'd rather talk about something else. Or if I ask you to play a game with me and you don't want to, you'll say, no, I don't want to play that. This can be difficult because sometimes we don't know what our yes and no is. In that case, what I really like doing is saying, hey, can you give me a minute? Yeah, I do want to give you a hug. I can take the time to actually feel into what is true for me. And what's true for me isn't just based on what I feel in the moment. It could also be the self that I'm trying to live into, the things I'm trying to practice, the values that I hold. If respecting myself is, I really just don't feel like going to work today, that might not be in line with the values that I hold for the future, like being able to eat and buy things. So, simplest level, yes if you're a yes, no if you're a no. That allows everyone else to play. Second agreement, confidentiality by request. Communities do this in different ways. A lot of groups have blanket confidentiality. Anything said in an event stays in the event only. We have it by request. Number 1, because part of respecting yourself is knowing what to ask for and when. So we want these to be practices that you can use anywhere, not just in an authentic relating event. If you want confidentiality, you get to practice asking for it. Also, most of us relate this way inside and outside of events. We're not just authentic, inside the container of a paid games night. We're authentic with each other because we know that we have the permission to be, and we've already shown each other parts that, maybe I'm ashamed, but you already know my shame. So outside of here, I can just have an honest interaction with you. But then, if confidentiality is tied to an event, I don't know if you told me that vulnerable thing inside a games night or outside of it. It helps to remember if the confidentiality is tied to a specific thing that you ask for confidentiality on, which you can just say, hey, could you keep that confidential? And you can ask for that before you say something, right after, a week later, whenever you want. The distinction I love on this too is even if confidentiality isn't asked, there's still a basic human, think about the person, think about what they might like, hold them in spirit when you talk if you're saying something edgy. So it doesn't mean go be a butt to everyone. I didn't want to swear on this. But now I feel awkward for having just said butt. Right. Third agreement. Third agreement is to lean into your edge. For instance, that was just an edge for me, to stay with that moment rather than gliding on, or to do this all unscripted rather than having my phone with a set of things to say. And the reason I like leaning into this edge is because I feel more honest doing it. I can imagine all of you out there rather than tracking in my head what I'm going to say and forgetting about, who might be listening and what my connection to you is. But your edge can be just about anything. Your edge could be telling someone about your trauma. Your edge could be saying no to a request. Your edge could be talking to someone new. Your edge could be talking to someone that you've known for years and haven't gotten fully honest with. So lean into your edge, we say, because authentic relating is a safe space to bring parts of us that historically we may not have been able to. We grow up with certain parts of us welcome and others not. Maybe anger isn't welcome in your family. It's shut down when you show it. Or sexuality is shamed. Or, excitement and energy is too much for the people around you. So we learn what parts of us are okay to show, and those are what we carry into adulthood, and those form our personality. The reason authentic relating is so special is it's a space where we can try on more parts of ourselves. I could try showing that wild energy and seeing how people react. And maybe some people react negatively, but maybe others respond really positively to it. I get a more nuanced view of human behavior, but I have to lean into my edge of what I've historically not thought was safe to share. That's lean into your edge. 2 more. Check your assumptions is the next one. This is actually my favorite. It's the one I use most in life. And what it means is we walk around with stories about who we and other people are all the time. Check your assumptions means you get to ask about those stories. When someone hasn't responded to your text for 2 days, you could say, "Hey, are you angry at me?" And what they might say back is, "No, I didn't get your text," or "No, my phone was broken." Or they might say, "Yeah, I am angry at you. Let's have a conversation." Rather than having a story and believing it's true, of this person is angry at me, and never checking but building my relationship with them on that story, I get to ask. I get to check in. So that's super powerful. And it also means that if you want to touch in a certain way, you can ask for that too. "Hey, can I give you a hug? Can I snuggle you? Can I give you a back massage during this game?" It gives us a lot of freedom, right? Because if my automatic assumption is that people are a no to the things I want to do, I never ask. I have a challenge for myself and now for you to see how many things you can turn from an assumption into a request. And the last agreement is to stay present. Staying present doesn't mean that the whole time you're listening to someone, you're going, "Om," inside your head. Number 1, that would be distracting, and number 2, I don't think anyone does that. Staying present means that you're with the person you're with, and you make an intentional choice to be. And if your mind wanders, you bring it back. This is actually a form of meditation. We can only pay attention to 1.5 conversations at a time. So if you're listening to the conversation in your head, you only have half a conversation's attention for the person in front of you. I noticed with the car going past, I felt distracted, and so I took a breath, came back here. I don't expect myself to be perfect at staying present, but the practice of trying has made me more in the connections I'm in while I'm in them, and it makes me miss less of the beauty of seeing someone else unfold and emerge in front of me. So those are the agreements. They're not just things we play with, they're actually a way of life. And I hope you get as much about and out of them as I have.